All right, about to go out for a quick jog. Thought I'd touch base as part of my little marathon update, keep myself accountable. I want to talk about running footwear in particular. One of the things we get asked a bit at the clinic, particularly by our running patients, is what type of shoes should I be wearing? What should I be doing there? And I thought good opportunity to talk about this because I just got myself a new pair of runners and thought we'd kind of talk about them before I take them out for their first go. So if I flip this camera around, as you can see, I'm now sporting a brand new pair of Nike Zoom Flies with the cool carbon fiber plate on the inside, apparently. So a bit of a comparison though to what I was wearing previously, which are the old trusty AxIT GT 2000s, which these have been a really great shoe. These have been really good, really durable. I've had these for a while now, and as you can see, kind of lasting pretty well. Not too much wear and tear in through there. And so I'll be interested to see how these things here compare. Obviously a few differences. Very kind of soft underfoot here with the Nikes compared to the ASICs here that were pretty rigid, pretty hard, but big difference in the upper. Like the upper here, very, very thin, you know, not much in through there, and you know, fair bit of give, I guess, through that compared to these, which are, you know, pretty solid, and they've obviously worn very, very well. But coming back to then the question that a lot of our kind of patients have, you know, which shoes should I wear? What should I be using for running? And of course the answer is always, it depends. And the reason why it depends is because it depends on so many different factors, right? There are lots of different types of running shoes. People talk a lot about kind of minimalist, almost barefoot style shoes. You've then got your normal running shoes, then you've got some of those really big, thick, maximalist style shoes, like really, really thick soles on them. Interestingly, when we go to the research, there can be different issues with all of those different types of footwear. So for example, with your minimalist style shoe, you're going to obviously have less cushioning underfoot, which potentially can cause some problems. But often what it does do is it kind of allows you to recruit and utilize your foot joints, your foot muscles in the way that they were probably designed to be done. The problem with that though can be, for a lot of people, they've probably spent a long period of time wearing fairly cushioned, fairly protective shoes, and then they make the jump to a minimalist shoe too quickly, in which case then you know, that's obviously going to predispose to a lot of risk of injury just due to those changes of forces and your body not being ready for it. When we then look at those maximalist shoes, those shoes with like the really big thick soles on them, a lot of cushioning underfoot, that type of thing, they cause problems too, because what ends up happening is the ability, because you have so much cushion underfoot, it then can tend to lead to people utilizing probably some incorrect biomechanics. So they start really overstriding, really, you know, landing with their foot very far out in front of their body, which we know can often be a big risk factor to a lot of different running related injuries, because of the fact then that often there's a lot of braking force, a lot of force coming back at you. Like if you try to stop yourself running in a straight line, often it'll be a case of if you put your foot straight out in front of you, that's the thing that's going to stop you. It's going to break you back. And so if you're running with a big overstride there, then there's a big risk that that braking force is going to obviously be pushing you back. It's a lot of increased ground reaction force as it is, and that can cause some big issues through there. So I think really the best advice that you can give to a lot of people is you've got to find something that works for you, right? And so consider whether or not potentially you need more kind of arch support. If you're a real pronator through the foot, you've got quite flat feet, sometimes that arch support is going to be important for you. You want something that's obviously really, really comfortable. Ideally something that's quite lightweight as well, reduces some of the energy consumption when you are running, which can obviously help reduce potentially some of those overuse injuries. But I think the biggest and the most important thing, g'day Brendan, how's it going? one of the biggest and most important things is I think that the footwear isn't going to be the biggest issue. The biggest issue for most runners, and the reason why they'll develop injuries, is probably because, once again, they don't have adequate strength, they don't have adequate capacity through their tissues to tolerate the forces that are going on, and therefore then they've kind of jumped into running too early, unprepared, and that's resulted in injury. So keep your footwear, once again, comfortable, lightweight. Try and have multiple sets of footwear, and this is the reason why I've made the switch now to these Nikes. Hopefully they're going to work well for me. They might be a terrible shoe, I'm not sure. It's my first time giving them a crack. But you want to be able to kind of alternate between your footwear as well, because the reason for that then is you're kind of swapping and distributing the load in a way that you're not just always running in the same way, hopefully, and that's going to share the load, share the forces throughout your training. So alternating through the week, just to try and offload as much as you possibly can. So that's my tip when it comes to shoes. Once again, hopefully these bad boys are going to go well for me, and I'll give you a review when I finish up.